Hello, ladies and germs, or gentlemen. Welcome to the show that really doesn't change anyone's life but our own. Oh, wait, no, it does. It's the best show ever created, and happy to be. Alright, welcome to Project Overload. I am, of course, Phoenix King, one of the two hosts of this show. The other one is Satanfish, Mr. Jesse Daniel.
Howdy do.
We're going to talk about something that's probably going to make people angry, but I don't really care. Actually, that sounds really mean. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about the idea of changing the continuity of a character just for the sake of doing it. Case in point, there's been a lot of kind of, I guess, backlash in a way with
Discussion. There's been a lot of discussion.
and backlash. I've seen both. Like with Doctor Who, because they're bringing in their first female doctor, which I'm 100% fine with.
I've actually looked up some of her previous work, and this actress is going to do immensely well as Doctor Who.
She was on Broadchurch, and she's very, very talented. I've seen Jodie Whittaker do a lot of stuff.
A few of her films have been hilarious. I know she's got one. I don't remember what it's called, but she's like a late 20s living with her mom, trying to figure out romance and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily a romantic comedy. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. And then there's been a lot of can't talk today. There's been this whole idea of like the first female Bond being done, and I have reserves about that. But I mean, ultimately, my idea is you can change the continuity of a character in any way you want. I'm not in control of the property. If you don't like it, the way you show it is you could write a mean blog, which ultimately just ticks everyone off, or just don't give your money to it. That's another option. Ratings fall, they change. Now, there's like an idea of James Bond being the first black Bond being created. I'm okay with that as long as it's Idris Elba.
Okay, Idris Elba would do a great job there, and from what I hear, he has been tapped to be the next Bond.
Yeah, but Craig's actually coming back. It was confirmed a couple weeks ago on Colbert.
Yeah, I'd heard that too.
I'm
actually
really excited because Daniel Craig's my favorite Bond.
I have to say my favorite Bond is probably Timothy Dalton.
What the hell is wrong with you? He's the worst. Like, I don't know. I love kidding. Timothy Dalton. I was about to say, it's like as a hardcore Bond fan.
No, it's actually Roger Moore.
That's an acceptable choice. Yeah. Roger Moore is great.
I love Timothy Dalton as an actor, though.
He was actually not the problem with those Bond movies wasn't really Dalton's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He did the best of what he was given. It was just a bad writing. It was kind of like the whole buddy cop thing that happened in the 80s. It's fine. I mean, Timothy Dalton did a good job, and some of them are great.
Yeah.
Like, just the problem is that it wasn't done well.
I love Timothy Dalton when he plays a villain.
He plays an anti-hero on Penny Dreadful.
Oh yeah,
he does really, really well.
Really, he's what is his name? It's Alan
something.
Oh my God, it's Alan. And you know, it's funny talking about Bond with Timothy Dalton being Bond, because the character he plays on Penny Dreadful is the same character that Sean Connery played on a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
And, Malcolm Murray.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Sean Connery played the first real Bond, and then Timothy Dalton later played that same character. And then Sean Connery plays Alan, and Timothy Dalton later plays that same character. And in both cases, I would say that Dalton did a better job. Connery suffered from the fact that the 60s were super campy and slightly rapey as far as Bond goes. And then with A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it was just crap writing.
I like that movie. Thank you.
I never said it was... It's fine to like the movie, but it suffered from bad writing.
Yeah, no.
It could have been done a lot better.
The only thing I won't use, like any movie that you like, you can kind of just chalk it out to bad writing, and for the most part, it's true. The only time I won't accept that is when we talk about Joel Schumacher's 2 Batman movies. As a hardcore Batman fan, those movies infuriate me more than anything in the world.
The problem with Joel Schumacher's Batman is that Schumacher wanted to bring the camp back from his childhood. And and you just can't really do that.
You can if you're going to do your own independent thing, but he was
Yeah.
just basically taking over for Burton. And Burton had
Well,
already...
Burton got the can because he was trying to turn Batman into a political protest.
Another thing that bothers me. But back to like our main point. If I have absolutely no problem with changing the continuity of a character. The problem is that the world has become like super political about it. Case in point, like you have all this outrage over like the way that they're doing Wonder Woman. I've seen kind of backlash from people. James Cameron made a comment about it, how to understand like why it was so popular. I don't remember his exact statement. I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I'd like to say a little something about the Wonder Woman, though, and this is kind of an answer to Cameron's question there. I think that we can really see 3 points of why Wonder Woman is so popular, and it doesn't really have anything to do with feminist iconography at all. For one thing, the DC films have always kind of suffered from the idea that they need to be dark and broody because the heroes that they normally choose are like Batman or Superman, where they actually have they're either too campy or they're too dark because of the situation in which DC wrote those characters. You got the one character, Batman, who has a tragic backstory because he lost both his parents at a young age.
He's a kid with daddy issues that knows how to break people's bones.
Yeah, he suffers from serious mental trauma. And then you've got Superman, who's basically this farm boy growing up, only to find out that he's been adopted. And not only has he been adopted, but he's not even from this planet, and the planet he is from has been destroyed for who knows how long enough for the remnants of that planet to make it all the way to Earth. And there's absolutely no way he can actually meet his birth parents. So he has unresolved issues there.
As a computer-generated dad.
Yeah.
Played by both Marlon Brando and Mr. Russell Crowe.
Marlon Brando did a better job. Let's all of us agree on that.
Yeah, but that, yet again, we're getting into like another point that, Zack Snyder, big fan of making it dark.
Yeah. So with Wonder Woman, she doesn't have that same mental trauma that you have to try to fit in there, which kind of colors the entire story. So her story it's brighter, it's I wouldn't say happier, but it's not.
No, I mean I would, because
yeah,
if you think about it, like Wonder Woman's original origins, it's kind of sad. She defies her mother and is banished, but ultimately gets walking back with open arms.
Yeah,
but, I mean.
And so you've got that going forward in one direction, and Wonder Woman's story, it's been hard to tell for decades because nobody really cared that much because she never really got that much time in the comics anyway until basically the last 20 or so years.
Well, I really hate Wonder Woman for a number of reasons, but it's not because she's a woman. Like, there are some people that I know that are like, no, it's not good. It's not good. I basically I've read a lot of the like Wonder Woman story arcs. Most of them, just in my personal opinion, aren't well written. I mean, they're good storylines that have come out of her, like basically continuity. It's just, to me, they're a lot more compelling characters, like Black Canary.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the tragic backstory. Basically like female Batman. I like that. Then you have, on the more campier side, Starfire. So up until maybe the beginning of the New 52, she was, like a really campy, happy person, and then they kind of made her like a super hornball. Then you have Raven, tragic backstory, another one of my favorites. Ravager is really good.
Kind of sensing a pattern here.
I like tragic backstories.
But I mean, that kind of brings and that kind of brings me to my second point about why Wonder Woman is so popular right now. Wonder Woman is the oldest of the female superheroes. She came out in the 40s. Mm-hmm. And back then you didn't have women writing comic books.
Yeah, her creator was a real a-hole too. He was like, basically there's a movie coming out later this year on that, and it's like his basic principle is like the woman must be submissive to the man.
Yeah, she basically gets started out to be the secretary of the justice, and so for decades you had men writing her story, which made her a less popular character, and so her movies didn't. It kind of reflected that, it was always men writing her story. Well, this time you have a woman writing the story, and that is I'm not 100% sure on who actually wrote the Wonder Woman movies. I haven't checked it. Yeah, but you've got the female director. So,
which the director can only do so much with what's been given.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I like about Geoff Johns, who is probably one of, to date, the best comic writers of DC's history. Geoff Johns has given some of the best Batman storylines. He definitely gave the best Green Lantern art, which is Blackest Day.
Oh yeah,
or Blackest Night and Brightest Day. Then you have another guy named Scott Schneider, who written hands down some of the best Batman arcs coming out of the New 52. The thing is like, yes, I am for the most part kind of into like the darker side of comics, but then you have people like Blue Beetle, who Jaime Reyes is the specific one I'm talking about. Who is third
Blue Beetle.
The first one, I
don't remember his name. But the second one was Ted Kord. Yes. He was the most popular for a long time.
Because Ted Kord's amazing.
Oh yeah, he was basically Batman, but happy.
Yeah, and then the whole he's made Booster Gold, made me be able to tolerate him.
Can't. They were best friends. And
Convergence, takes the bullet to that.
Oh yeah, Booster Gold didn't really get over that for a long time.
But Jaime Reyes, up until the New 52, which they kind of mismanaged him on that end, Booster Gold was always, super excited about the fact that he got this cool gift, this alien technology. And then, he gets the Scarab, becomes this really, really kick-ass hero, goes through his life doing whatever it is Booster Gold does.
Tries to get sponsors.
Yeah. Or not Booster Gold, but
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
And then you have, characters like the original incarnation of Speedy, pre the shooting up the heroin.
Roy
Harper.
Yeah, Roy Harper.
He was pretty campy. Green Arrow, that's why I love Green Arrow. Green Arrow is this guy who, much like Batman, has suffered immense mental and physical trauma. But through nearly every one of his iterations, he's the campy Joker. He makes wisecracks. Same thing as Spider-Man.
He's Robin Hood.
Well, don't fucking call him Robin Hood because I hate that damn hat.
I know
what you mean.
It's not just the hat or the bow and arrow, but that was really kind of the inspiration was Robin Hood. And Robin Hood, the most famous aspect of Robin Hood isn't that he robbed from the rich and gave to the poor.
He was a smart ass.
Yeah, if you've ever read the book about the adventures of Robin Hood, it's that he was quite literally a smart ass.
And I love it.
Yeah, his most famous outing was where he disguised himself as an old man and won a competition that was designed as a trap to catch him. And then no one knew it was him until he grabs the golden arrow, throws off the costume, and is just like, hey, by the way, you guys are nerds.
And I get the girl, haha, take that, Sheriff, you fucking asshole.
Yep. And that's Green Arrow in a nutshell. Now, this kind of, and now, as for my third point about why Wonder Woman is so popular right now, and it really, this third point, it doesn't have anything to do with writing or with the storyline itself. It's about what we kind of been talking about, continuity, about changing characters. When you have actors and actresses, you want to try to get the ones that are going to nail it the best. And Gal Gadot, Chris Pine.
Oh, fuck you. Chris Pine was awful. I hate Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor is a terrible character to begin with.
He did a
But
good
let's-
job with what he's given.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
let
agree
Jesse-
that Chris Pine did a
he-
great job.
He
as
did.
it.
I'll give you a good job.
The characters were fun because the actors who were portraying them were awesome. Gal Gadot did a great job. You know, you really believed that she was Wonder Woman. And to be fair, Gal Gadot kind of is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's got like these really special forces background, does her own stunts. She's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Gal Gadot.
Chris Pine, I mean, you really believed he was Stephen Trevor.
But here's the thing: Stephen Trevor is the most pointless character in all of comics. Because what does he do?
He's literally there just to be a love interest.
He
He's the male equivalent of every female character
Yeah,
except for Lois Lane.
and you're right. But Lois Lane, I have my issues with her too.
But Lois Lane has gone through a lot of changes. I mean, in the original 40s iteration of the Superman comics, she was basically just there to be the damsel in distress every week. And
But-
that's basically what Stephen Trevor is. He's the damsel in
But
distress.
here's the thing: Stephen Trevor, like you can get past the point. It's just like the love interest, and there's a lot of them that have been written very well. Back to the whole James Bond thing, you have Eva Green playing. What the hell was her name?
I don't know, but I love
Uh,
Eva Green. She is a fantastic actress.
She's one of the best, one of my favorites.
I loved her.
Oh, God.
I loved her in the 300 sequel.
It was okay. I like her best in Miss Peregrine,
Oh yeah, Miss Peregrine's Home for
something like Extraordinary Children.
some such like that.
Oh God, what the heck?
She's
Well, whatever character she played in Casino Royale, I'm blanking on the name.
don't
I
don't
felt-
look at me. I try to stay away from the Bond remakes.
Oh, I fucking love Casino Royale. I love nearly, but this one's actually
Casino Royale has been made 3 times.
Yes, but
The first time was before the James Bond movies started happening, and it was slightly a comedy.
the second one was okay, but it's not considered canon within the universe.
Well, it's Sean Connery at that point.
Yeah, but the third one's the best in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because the way they did Daniel Craig's character it kept in the continuity with the universe, and it was very well done. Lashif was great. The way they kind of led up to Spectre being done. I mean, 'cause Quantum of Solace is dumb as hell, but I still love it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the Bond stuff, I'm great. But the point is like, she's just the love interest, but the way that they wrote her into the movie, it was very well done. They made her compelling, made you feel like when she's crying in the shower, made you feel that emotion. Writing is ultimately like the ultimate part. It's the most essential thing. I don't care what you say. You can love Steven Spielberg, all that, but the writing staff behind Jurassic Park are what make that movie so great.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a balance of both.
And that's I feel is why Wonder Woman is so popular right now.
And that's fine. But the problem that I'm getting at is that with what I've seen, the entirety of like the issue is the fact we are in a time in which everyone's looking for a reason to become militant about their views. You attack someone's ideas, it's as if you're attacking them.
Mm-hmm.
And not the fact that, you know what, you need to be completely objective on most issues so you can learn and grow. That's like one of the things that like there was a whole feminist backlash on the fact that Wonder Woman, a feminist character, one that has become woman power since like the 1950s.
I would even say earlier than that.
It's probably since her iteration, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Even though that was never what they intended.
no, but she became this feminist idea in which like she doesn't need a man. That's one of the reasons I admire her. I'm not a fan of Wonder Woman comics for a number of reasons, but I do like that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that Gal Gadot taking the character made it amazing. Linda Carter did a good job in the 60s with her TV show.
Oh yeah, Linda Carter was great.
But I mean, there was a huge backlash from like the feminist movement against the feminist character because she became an ambassador to womankind. And the idea was because she was dressed so scantily for most of her iteration, she's a bad idea. It's kind of like a body shaming thing. They complain about that, but if someone decides that, you know what, I want to dress a little bit more provocative, oh no, you can't do that. You're against womankind.
Yeah, there's some. That's a whole nother issue that
Yeah.
I don't think we should try to hit on.
We're
this
not going to hit
episode.
that today. I was just bringing it up because, like,
It's like what you were saying earlier.
Fits in.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm fine with it. But then again, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I'm a male,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't really complain about it.
Oh, we can flip that on us. Wonder Woman is a woman thing. Let's talk about James Bond or the
Okay.
Ghostbusters, where you had a male cast that is being transferred into a female cast.
You know what? Since we're bringing up Ghostbusters yet again, it was the way they handled it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just the writing, the way that it was handled. Now, Leslie Jones, who played, what the heck is his name?
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson's character.
Yeah,
Basically,
I can never remember his name either.
I used to like be able to.
I always just call him Ernie Hudson.
Yeah,
but yeah, no,
she was completely mistreated in the media.
She was.
They said,
I think that she nailed the aspect of Ernie Hudson's character to begin with, because it's
Ernie Hudson. He was
not a scientist.
No, he was the comedic relief, which is great. The problem is that, like, no, whether I liked it or not, I haven't seen all of it. The clips I've seen, I don't like. It's because it was poorly done.
Mm-hmm.
And
now I watched it, and I can say it's fun. It has some very fun parts. It's got some really funny stuff going on. It's not a terrible movie. I didn't like it as much because I just kind of felt like it got handled wrong.
Because you think about the original Ghostbusters, it was just made to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with, like, take John Wick for example. He's kind of like the more gritty James Bond-esque character, but he's done in a way that's just fun to experience. That's what I like about this particular, like, set of things. You have characters that are completely out there in the world. Case in point, God, what? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the names. I haven't gotten much sleep in the past couple days. You have characters out there like her name was Vespa. That was like Vespa in James Bond. That's who Eva Green played. She's there as like the strong, like the Bond's love interest. But the first time you see her on screen, you're like, oh shit, she's not like the others. She's like basically full of woman power. The first thing she said is, I'm the money. Stating like the strong position that she's not going to be like every other Bond girl that's just like the damsel in distress. She stands strong, is there with him when she needs him, ultimately becomes a traitor, but I still cried when she died. Spoiler alert, it's been out since like the early 2000s. Like, I think 06 or whatever. But you have these characters that are like getting changed just for the sake of change. Case in point, the all-female cast of Ghostbusters. Perfectly great idea. Doesn't matter ultimately, but it was poorly handled. Case in point, Captain America. Recently, in like I think all new, all different Marvel, it was revealed that like the Red Skull changes the entire makeup of society and makes Captain America a sleeper agent for Hydra. That idea makes me happy because it had so much potential to take off, but people are so stuck in this idea of traditionalism. It's like completely squandered. Just a throwaway thing, and Marvel's like, just joking.
Well, and of course that suffered a lot of backlash as well. Something else to talk about with the female Ghostbusters, I think that it suffered from some bad writing. The thing about it is that Ghostbusters is a comedy, and when a joke falls flat, it falls really flat. See, with comedy, it's either actually funny or it's bad.
There's no middle ground. That's why I love like some of my favorite comics. They'll tell you that like they bombed when they started out. George Carlin did.
Mm-hmm.
How Louis C.K. talks about it all the time about how like when he was first starting out, he kind of had to work his way to a certain position.
Mm-hmm. And so when when you're going to change continuities like that to kind of match society, you have to make sure that you work it out correctly. There's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, if we're going to do this, should we do this? And if not, then, don't. And if you are, you got to make sure that you're going to do it right. And I feel like that a lot of the problem people have with continuity changes is that a lot of the times it's not really handled very well. It's like they're trying to pander with a continuity change rather than make it interesting and their own character. Case in point, the female Thor.
Jane Foster was great. The problem that I had is when it was originally announced, it felt, and Marvel's horrible about doing this, about changing things just to do it. Some of it's worked out great. Case in point, Miles Morales. It felt really heavily that they were just going to create this Black Spider-Man just to do it. But when they did it, they wrote him very well, and now he's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fun. And I'm fine with you changing the character.
Yeah, you can change race, you can change gender. It's just that when you do it,
you're gonna get backlash for one, and you have to handle it carefully.
And you have to make them compelling characters.
Exactly.
They have to be able to stand on their own. You can't say we're gonna have a female Black Panther and then just hope that she can stand on the shoulders of the Black Panther. That's not fair to the character, it's not fair to the fans, and it's not fair to the writers. You need to make her own character. There needs to be a reason why she became the Black Panther. There needs to be a backstory there. There needs to be compelling storytelling. There needs to be conflict. There needs to be drama. These are the things that storytelling thrives on. So, for example, the female Doctor Who. We always knew that it was a possibility. They've pointed out several times before that Time Lords can become female. They can switch genders.
What's his face?
The Master.
The Master did it.
The Corsair did it. You don't really see the Corsair very much, just some backstory. The Doctor talks about how him and the Corsair used to run off and, canoodle in corners. But the next time you see the Corsair, it's just the Corsair's arm, which is most definitely a male arm.
And then you have, case in point, specifically talking about the Master,
Missy, oh yeah.
Missy. She was great.
Yeah.
She was perfect for the time.
She was a compelling character.
Very well done.
She had all of the aspects of the previous Masters. And they did the character and the acting perfectly. It was handled perfectly. And so we knew just from the idea of the Master switching to a female form that if the Doctor ever switched to the female form, it could be done and handled good. And what I'm hoping, I haven't watched any of the new episodes, but what I'm hoping is that we get to see this female Doctor for quite some time and that they handle her in an amazing fashion.
But then again, on the other side of the coin, on the other side, and this will be our final point, and then we got to go, but you see characters like Riri Williams, who became the female Iron Man, and it was met with a lot of hostility, and then it was executed poorly.
So, that's our last topic for right now. We got to head out. Tune in on next Wednesday. We have a style format change. We're going to be uploading once a week on Wednesdays from now on. So make sure you tune in for that. Next week, I think we're going to try to talk about women in the STEM jobs. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be great. As always, if you have any suggestions for topics, put them in the comments. If you have anything you want to add to the discussion that we just had, go ahead and put that in the comments as well.
Bring it up on Facebook, and as always, stay thirsty, my friends.